Hi everyone, welcome to today's video, which is going to be I'm going to call it a gardening craft, but what we're going to make today is a dried flower chandelier because it's my daughter Hannah's 30th birthday. So we're having a little dinner party for her to really celebrate, and you all know how much Hannah and I love our flowers, and it's winter, so it's going to be fun to bring something like that inside for the party and some really nice floral impact. So this is where we're actually going to have the dinner party, and we're going to hang it up here from the ceiling. So you're going to see us working and how we're putting it together. But the main ingredient here are our dried flowers. So most of them are from my own garden, and I love experimenting with drying methods. You've probably seen a couple of videos on that, but most of them are from the garden, and then some of them are from our local floral supplier. So we purchased a couple extra things and I've dried them, things that don't grow well in my zone. So go ahead, gather up your materials if you're going to follow along and create a chandelier with us, or just sit back, relax, and enjoy this fun video. Okay, so basics of what you are going to need for this fun project, and I will put some links up for you in our description, is you're going to need some kind of base. So I'm going to use this wire wreath ring, which is 2 feet in diameter, but any kind of ring that you have at home, so grapevine ring is fine also. And then we're essentially making a wreath, so you're going to need something to adhere your materials onto the ring with. So you can use wire, you can use zip ties, you can get a little creative with that, something that's going to blend in well. And then I've got some other materials that I'm going to add in. I've got some nice grapevine garland. I'm using a twig garland I have here, Spanish moss, and then of course your tools and something to hang it with, something sturdy. So you can use some rope, you can use some chain or whatnot, but as you know, I like to have all of my materials handy and also just walk you through what I'm using in case you're following along at home. Okay, so first step is covering my ring. And notice how I've got this paper covering the table here to contain my mess, and also because we're going to be standing on the table. But we want to essentially just make a wreath, and it's going to be really a one-sided wreath because we're just going to see it from sitting at the table and a little bit of the sides. But we want to go ahead and try to hide the ring. So I'm going to do that by using some of my moss here. I'm thinking I'm going to use some Spanish moss, and I'm going to use some twigs as my base. I'm going to use my brown zip ties here to secure it. So I'm just going to go ahead and secure it and then work my way around this wreath. And notice that I'm not putting it really tight to the wreath. I'm going to let it float a little bit, give it some depth here. But I think I'm also going to try to use these recycled twigs here. It was a garland at one point, used in some other projects. And I just think it's great if you can hang on to things and repurpose it. So let's see what we can do with this here. Okay, so this is going to get even sturdier and wrapped with more wire as you're adding your dried flowers onto it. So that's why I'm not going crazy with zip ties. Okay, next step, fun part, floral materials. Working with my larger flowers and then work down to my smaller flowers. So I guess it's foliage first, then larger flowers, some polka flowers, and then our accent flowers. Now we're going to use our basic wreath technique, which is just making some little bunches and then staggering them all the way around the ring. Okay, so if you're going to be continuously wrapping your bunches with wire, you're going to need to adhere it somewhere to the base, so the wire ring. So you're just going to wrap it around and secure it. And then go around. This is what I have so far. Very loose, and I'm looking for a lot of really feminine color and texture. Okay, so we are tying on the last bunch in the, I guess, second round or the second layer of the flowers that we're doing. We're still going to add more, but this can be a little trickier. It's the last bunch. So as you can see, we are going in the same direction all the way around the wreath. And the tricky part is you're just hiding the stems underneath the first bunch that you put on. So I'm going to cut this a little shorter here, and we're just going to try to tuck it in some of the twig base. And then we're going to find our little nest of raffia. I'm just going to go around. And just tug it a little bit here. And then you're going to need some wire cutters and put this aside. All right, so this end here, we want to tuck in and we want to find the wire ring in the back and just weave it through and tie it off. We're not going to get too fussy here about tying it off because we're not going to see this side. This is going to be facing the ceiling here. Okay. Now, I have a little bit of extra put aside, and it's funny, when I first started out in floral design, I worked with someone that said to me, don't ever throw anything out until you're done the project. And that is so true. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself fishing through the trash. So this is kind of my leftover here, and if I have any bare spots, I'm just going to go through and weave the extras in here. So it's nice to have some little random pieces, because I feel like it's not as full towards the end as it was in the beginning. And you can use your zip ties, or if you can catch what you wrapped it with, that's great. Right, and so now we're just gonna have fun. We're gonna try to leave a little length on some of these little flowers and just really embellish it and try to make it as fluffy as I can. And so these I really want to stand out. So notice how I'm putting the ones that I want to stand out on last. So that's because it's the outer layer. It's the first thing that you're going to be seeing when you're looking up. So really just trying to put them in some spots where they're going to stand out. Okay, so now I'm going to get out my glue gun. I'm just going to make sure these magnolia leaves are secure and test some of the other things, because I don't want anything falling on us when we're having our little dinner party. Okay, this is the finished product, and I just wanted to give you a glimpse of it before we go ahead and hang our chandelier for the birthday party. But you can see how it also would make a beautiful dried wreath. And what we're going to do next is we're using some light duty black coated chain, and each piece is 10 feet, so we have a total of 20 feet of chain up here. And then we are going to use some double-sided tape, and we're going to put some remote operated, battery operated candles on the top to light it up a little bit. Here's our finished product. I'm loving how this piece came out. It's our floral chandelier, can also be used as a wreath.